Hello folks, Jerry and welcome back to Rush Racing 2, and a couple of days ago I asked the members of the channel to vote for a video idea for this week, and well, they picked ladder tanks. Now if you guys wanna become a member of the channel and get access to some special perks like exclusive live streams and 2 videos, the link to that is in the description, but there should also be a join button somewhere near the subscribe button. So there's that. You do get access to some special perks, plus you really do help the channel out. So if you guys want to support me in that way, that's available. But let's do ladder tanks. And also I do have an announcement before we get into that. Back on the Racing Rivals, we had the R2 breakdown. Basically, we took every single car from the R2 class and we pink slipped them, and well, there was supposed to be like a ranking towards the end, but that never happened. Now, on this game, there is not a whole lot of cars in a specific tier, so I have decided that we're gonna go ahead and pink slip every single car from every single tier, and at the end I'm gonna be ranking all the cars that I pink slipped for each tier. So obviously we're going to be doing ladder pinks today, so I'm gonna like pink slip a car from each tier, and I'm gonna use them as sort of a benchmark to then you know, rank cars against each other as we pink slip more cars. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Enough of me rambling, let's get into the pinks. Now for tier 1 there wasn't really any other car that I was going to pink slip first for the RR2 breakdown. So we do have the Focus. I will be uploading the max tune for each of these cars for the members, so you guys can check them out, but stress praise for the optimal tune is 56.0. So let's go ahead and try and find some pinks. Now Focus is one of the best cars in the game to actually find pink slips with. They got super cheap because obviously the prices of millions fell down, so you aren't really gambling too much, and it's a really fun way to get into pink slips. So the release for this thing is basically something like that. The release is as soon as the second light comes on, and then you shift as late as possible without hitting the wall. Now, with a really good time, you're gonna get a 9.7. With a decent time, you're sort of looking at a mid 9.8. So that was an okay time. Could be better. Would be decent minus the RT, but let's go ahead and find the Focus. Should be too difficult. That's one of the perks of this thing. So let's go. Well, seems like we got our opponent. Now Jara has been supporting this channel quite a bit recently. He even donated some Focuses a few days ago. So let's see if he's down to pink slip. Well, looks like it. Let's go. Decent start. Try to not click the gears on the Focus like I just did there in the 4th gear. Alright, so we got a really good opening run. I think I'm gonna lose this one. He was slightly ahead. There you go, that's a really good time for them both of us. So this is really what you're gonna be aiming for when you pink slip Focuses, but seeing how I have more of them, we might as well go ahead and pink slip another one, even though like for most of the cars we're gonna be pink slipping, I'm only gonna do one pink slip. But let's have another one. That was such a good run there. Alright, so this time around we're gonna be running versus card. Let's see. Okay. Was decent as well, even though we did click the gear. Like, you really want to max out the gear as far as you can with the Focus without clicking it, but we just did that. Seems like he did have some trouble. Oh yeah, he got traction loss. So an okay time for me. So there you go. The Focus, basically, here's my quick overview of the car, as we would, you know, as we're gonna do with most of the cars. It's a really good car. For tier 1, it's gonna be one of the best cars to pink slip. It's a campaign car, so you know, you're always gonna have people pink slipping them. Plus, you're not risking too much. This car, for me, gets a 9 out of 10. Obviously, it's not the quickest car ever, but for tier 1, it does its job and it does it really well. Alright, for tier 2, I chose the Lexus Is 300. This is a car I've always been curious about, but I actually never got the chance to drive it until today. And I'm really pleasantly surprised. So this thing maxes out at 976, which makes it one of the quickest tier 2 cars in the game. The correct stress per race is 62.4, we're gonna go ahead, hop into a lobby and pink slip this thing. But before that, obviously I'm gonna show you guys how to drive this thing. So this is actually a car that has a drop launch very similar to the Gallardo, and after that you shift late but not too late. Let's go ahead and have a free run. Okay, so that was not an ideal launch, I could feel that, but the release is basically as soon as the launch button lights up, and after that you shift at 7000 RPM, and you could possibly get 8.9 with this, so you could cross into the 8-second barrier. Now, I've been struggling with this thing for a bit because I really didn't know how to drive it, but yeah, I think I got the hang of it, so let's try again. Okay, short shifted that, just ignore that. Better than slamming the wall, I guess. I've been getting some pretty decent RTs, so I'm quite pleasantly surprised about that. Still, we're gonna cross at 9.0. We short shifted the first gear, so I don't know about this run. It's actually still gonna be amazing. Like, I would happily take that on a pink slip. Let's see. Okay, Make a Fast is in here. Then A3. Let's go ahead and challenge him. He's been looking to do pink slips early. He chickens out. Okay. That's fair enough, but okay. Let's see. Alright, he challenges us now. Oh yeah, he probably just had to turn boost on or something. Let's go. Oh, that was an awful RT. Not sure about this one, but IS-300 does pull towards the end, but then it does stop out, so that was insanely close. Let's see if we actually get it. Holy crap, that was close. I mean, with that RT, I'm actually really surprised that we got, because this was like my first ever pink slip with one of the quicker tier 2 cars. So the IS-300 really did pleasantly surprise me. Like, this thing is sick, and the A3 also maxes out at 976. So this thing, I actually don't know how to rate it considering I don't have too much experience. It is gem only, so it's one of the more expensive ones. So it's not gonna get a 9 out of 10 like the Focus did, but considering how quick it is, and you know, the whole... I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Obviously the strong points are that it's one of the quicker tier 2 cars. It's also really consistent to drive. Like, once I figured out the shifts, I don't think I messed up a single run too much. Obviously there was going to be like the whole RT debacle, but this thing, really good. Let's move on to tier 3. For tier 3, the benchmark car is obviously always going to be the Evo 8. It's the quickest campaign car, and the maxed, engine damage is either 67.2 or 69.0, and it all depends whether you want to put the intake manifold in this car. Obviously it does increase the power, but it also increases the weight quite a bit, so it really mostly depends on this car. I mean, on that part, excuse me, but alright, we're gonna hop into an Evo, and we're gonna do some pinks. I believe there's people already waiting in the lobby, so let's go ahead and show you guys how to drive this thing. Now, I do need to say that I'm really inconsistent with the Evo these days, for some reason, probably just because I don't really run many of these anymore, but the release is on late first light, and after that you shift at 8000 RPM. Okay, it doesn't matter too much if you mess up the launch, just try to not get the RT like I just did. So with a really good time, you're gonna be looking at a low 8.8. If you get a perfect, like an amazing run, you can potentially get a super high 8.7. So let's try this again. Let's see if there's anyone joining in a tier 3 car. Okay, so once again, an atrocious RT, but it was a perfect launch. The Mustang even did the wheelie. That's gonna be one of the more competitive tier 3 cars as well. But the Evo obviously is one of the more common cars to get pink slips with. It's a campaign car just like the Focus, except it's a little bit quicker. It's not too painful to drive, but lately I have been struggling trying to get perfect launches on this thing just because, you know, I've been running so many cars. But it's always a car you can fall back on. There is a lot of people pink slipping them all the time. Alright, car is in here. We're gonna do the pink slip. Let's see what happens. I haven't pink slipped these in a while though, so not too confident. Actually got a perfect launch. Atrocious RT. But this car does come back near the end. So, holy shit, we are cutting all of these close, aren't we? Jesus. So let's see. We actually managed to win that one. It was insanely close. Obviously, both of us would have a pretty good run. Minus the RT, but you know, RT really is key. Especially in the lower tier cars, such as the Focus, the RT can make or break your run. Same with the Evos and the, well, tier 2 as well, even though I don't really run much tier 2. But Evo is a really good car. Sadly, it's not quite as easy to run as it is back on back on Racing Rivals. Still, it's one of the most competitive cars in tier 3, and it's always, you know, it always gives you that nostalgia vibe. So for me, it's gonna be an 8.5 out of 10. So yep, let's move on to tier 4. Now for tier 4, I actually was not sure which car to test out first, but I did come up with this thing. So this is the BMW M3. This is the crate version. Obviously the showroom version is gem only, but it is a bit quicker just because you can put aero parts on that thing. So the optimal engine damage for this car is at 81.9, which is really similar to A-Class back on Racing Rivals as well. So this thing, like, I actually didn't run too many of these, but I did pink slip them in the past, and they're actually always like, compared to the C63, they are a bit slower. They are 984, a really known low 984 maxed out, and you know, they're not like super easy to drive, but well, especially compared to the C63, which is what I tend to run against, these are actually quite a joy to drive. So the release is as soon as the second light comes on. After that, you just shift perfect. The first gear is actually quite quick, so watch out for that. If you get a really good time, you're looking at an 8.2. Let's see. Okay, so we crossed at 8.3 there, so it's not going to be the best possible run, but it's not like you guys exactly expect that from me. So there you go. Okay, let's have another one just in case, and we're gonna see what we go up against. Okay, the first gear was basically spot on there, but obviously, you know, just me switching cars, I'm not gonna get best possible times on all of them, but we did cross at 8.2 there, which is, I'm gonna call that progress, so there you go. As you guys can see, 8.2s are obviously possible. Let's go find a tier 4 car now. Alright, so the furry decided that he wants to pink slip the Skyline against the M3. Skyline is a lot more valuable, but it's also quicker, so this one's gonna be interesting. Let's go ahead and see what happens. Obviously, best of luck to you. Holy crap! That was unexpected. Okay, so this was like kind of a suicide, but not really. But actually won that. Referee, GG dude. Hopefully, hopefully this didn't upset you too much. But that Skyline is gonna obviously come in handy for this series. So I'll take it. So the M3 is actually quite a decent car when it comes to tier 4. Like I didn't think I would give out, you know, so many positive ratings for like benchmark cars, but this one gets an 8 out of 10 for me. It's not the quickest, but like I do believe that the Gen 1 is going to be even better to drive. It's really good to drive though, and it's like, considering how cheap these things are, it's relatively easy to launch, and it's a good car. I didn't expect this thing to be as good as it actually is, and compared to the C63, it's slower, but it's a lot more consistent. So this thing is pretty cool. So for tier 5, you would expect the Gallardo, but I actually don't have any Gallardos at the moment, so we're doing the campaign Audi R8. This is the quicker of the two campaign cars, and it's one of the most common tier 5 cars that people pink slip. So the optimal engine damage on this car is 82.8, but it's quite precise to drive. So I just asked the master how he drives this thing, and basically it's you mostly shift just before perfect from what I've seen. That's the TLDR, it's the best I can possibly expect to shift, so this thing does actually do 7.7s, really high ones. I'm gonna be happy with a 7.8. Okay, so the release is just before the second light comes on, and that was actually ideal. Holy shit! Did we actually just cross at 7.7? Holy shit! I never got a time like this before. Okay, it's also worth mentioning that this thing does go up to 989, but you do need to have aero parts like the trunk, which are gem only, in order to make this thing go up to 989. But that was an insane time for me. Like, how did I do that? I have no idea, because I did run these things before, and trust me, I did not get times like that. I'm so proud of that. Holy crap! Let's try again. Oh no, short shifted that, so we're not gonna repeat, but still getting good RTs. 7.8 this time around, maybe low 7.9 even, because the first gear on this thing is crucial. So basically, I would still be happy with a time like that. Obviously, we messed up the first gear a bit, but this thing is a lot more manageable from what I remember. Oh my god, guys! After 20 minutes. We got pinks. Shout out to Gap Sauce. Let's go. Oh, shitty RT. And you know what? We did a lot better on the practice runs. We actually crossed ahead. Is this the first ever R8 pink slip I'm gonna win? Holy shit! We actually got that. All of these runs are so close, and I'm getting so lucky. Jesus Christ. Honestly, this was a better time than I was expecting to get my pink slip. Like, I was just gonna be happy with a 7.8 minus the RT, but some of the practice runs we have gotten were actually incredible, like, for my standards with the R8. So this thing, obviously, like, for some reason it was the toughest thing ever to find pink slips with this thing, like right now. But the R8 is really good. It's really easy to drive, actually, like, once you know what you're doing. And it's just, well, it's the better campaign car for tier 5. So I'm gonna give this thing an 8.5 out of 10. So let's move on to tier 6. Alright, so I have to say, those pings that we got all went insanely well. Obviously, I got lucky for the most part, but Jesus Christ, I'm actually doing really good today. And well, this is gonna be the most valuable car we're gonna pink slip. The 177 is a really expensive car. They go from like 25 to 30 bucks on the market, so this thing is quite valuable, to say the least. The optimum engine damage is 110.8, and it's actually really nice to drive. It's the reason why I chose this to be the benchmark car. And because it's probably the easiest of the quicker tier 6 cars to drive. It is at exactly 1000 maxed out, and the release is basically very similar to the R8. It's basically just before the second light comes on, and then you just shift as late as you can without hitting the wall. So let's try it out. Okay, so mouse didn't activate that, but like I did practice runs previously, and I got a really good RT on all of them, so quite pleased with myself. Granted, the NOS didn't activate on any of them, but this was the best time I got, and this thing is gonna do low 6.7s potentially. Obviously, it's gonna be better if you put the gem aero kit on that, but it will obviously cost you gems. But the car, you know, you will have an advantage over 177s that are not gemmed out. So let's go ahead and have another run, and then let's find some pings. Don't actually see many tier 6 cars in lobbies, so we might be struggling trying to get pings. Okay. This one's gonna be good, I think. This one's gonna be really good. Crossed at 6.7. Let's aim for like a mid 6.7. That's a really good time. That's a really good time, actually. Okay, let's hop into into Showdown. I did see some cars here earlier, so oh well, speaking of potential cards that we could pink slip, even though I wasn't talking about them, but yeah, just ignore that. Let's see what this dude wants to do. It's happening, guys. Wish me luck. Hopefully we get a good time. Oh no. Shit. Shit. So... oh my god, are you shitting me? Are you fucking shitting me? Holy fuck. Holy shit. Like, we were behind, I was not expecting to jump ahead. This is... wow. Like, this was a really bad time. Like, holy shit. Like, this entire, like thing was so lucky. And this was like the cherry on top of the fucking cake. Like, holy crap. Holy crap. Obviously, we're gonna be keeping that. That was... wow. It was really good. I'll take that. So obviously the 177 is an amazing car. It's not the quickest tier 6, which is obviously gonna, you know, it's not the most competitive tier 6, but you do have some cars that max out at around 1000. This is by far the easiest tier 6 car I've driven so far. It's insanely consistent. It looks really good. Granted, it is pretty valuable, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I'm gonna give this thing a 9 out of 10. So yeah, it's gonna be an amazing benchmark car, and all these pinks were just like, I got so lucky, especially in the last one. Holy crap, like that was so good. So obviously we're gonna go ahead and pink slip every single car on the game. So today we did 6, basically just like 1 from each tier. And yeah, let's go over the ratings. Alright, so that went insanely well. I wasn't expecting it, and you guys probably weren't either, but I'm really pleasantly surprised. We got so lucky. But anyway, here are the benchmarks for the cars for the RR2 breakdown. So the Focus is gonna get a 9 out of 10. The IS300 is gonna get an 8. The Evo is gonna get an 8.5. The M3, the tier 4 one, is gonna get an 8 as well. The R8 is gonna get an 8.5, and the 177 is gonna get a 9 out of 10. So some really strong ratings, but granted, I really didn't dislike any of the cars. In fact, like, all of the cars we have driven today were actually really good. So I will not stream today, but tomorrow obviously there will be a RR2 breakdown video, and also we're gonna be testing some cars out on the stream. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Leave a like. This series is gonna be insane. I'm really fucking hyped for it. Hopefully you guys are as well. But if you do want to support the channel even more, you can go ahead and join the RJS Club. The link is in the description. You do get some perks, and also you're gonna get the maxed tunes for all of the cars that I will be testing out, and I will be uploading them through the next few days. So thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Jerry, and I'll see you guys in the next episode of Rush Racing 2 Breakdown. Take care.